What's up, everybody? I'd like to welcome you to the first episode of the Librarians of Solana podcast. My name is T, and I am one of the librarians here, keeping track of the news and everything to do in the world of Rathe. I wanted to give you a quick rundown about what this channel is going to entail before we get into today's episode. This channel is meant to be informative for the casual and the competitive player alike. I want to keep you up to date on strategy and happenings surrounding the Flesh and Blood community. In the future, you'll be able to find all kinds of helpful resources and videos on this channel, such as deck techs, weekly news, guests, stories, and a whole lot more. So make sure you stick around by subscribing for notifications on when new videos are posted. That being said, let's dig straight into the news and talk about what is coming up in the near future for Flesh and Blood. The newest set, Everfest, releases on February 4th. This is a supplementary set similar to Crucible of War, but this time features support for every class. Packs of Everfest will contain 10 cards, including a new Carnival slot. It is unknown to us at this time what is in the Carnival slot or just what that is, but I'm excited to check that out. Pictured here was the January Armory kit where you could win a Cold Foil Valda. We now know that is a Majestic in the set of Everfest, and the playmat featuring Bravo, star of the show, a new, also Majestic, but adult hero in Everfest, containing the 3 elemental archetypes featured in Tales of Aria: Lightning, Earth, and Ice. The Armory kit for February features the new Wizard Ice hero, Icelander, and focuses on playing spells during either player's turn from your arsenal. Make sure to find an LGS and compete for a cold foil version of this hero in the month of February. Icelander is also a Majestic hero, so this is a sweet include for these Armory kits. Proquest season is kicking off on the 19th of February and concluding on the 13th of March. The format for these events is classic constructed and allows the use of new Everfest cards. I personally am excited to see how these new cards shake up the meta. Pictured here is the prize payout for these Flesh and Blood Proquests. It's 2 playmats for assume first and second. They haven't really said. It's kind of up to the store discretion for those. I'm personally expecting them to be first and second, or first and a random participant. Top 8 is cold foils, including a gold cold foil for first. We don't know what that gold cold foil is yet. In the past, every gold cold has been legendary, but they've specified for future events that they are a curated list of gold cold legendaries. So this did not say that. I'm assuming this will probably be a gold cold of a random Majestic, probably of the ones featured in Everfest. The rest of top 8 each get a cold foil hero of the adult heroes from Monarch or Tales of Aria, and it's 1 of each in the kit, so 1 of each will be given to the 2nd through 8th in those events. Star City Games is throwing their hat into the ring for Flesh and Blood, again, featuring a new form of Proquest called a Battle Hardened Tournament. These events are Pro Tour invitations for first and second, a curated gold cold foil legendary to first, and various amounts of cash to the rest of top 8, as well as prize tickets based on record for the rest of the participants. This event will take place on Sunday, February the 13th at Star City Games Con, Philadelphia, starting on Friday the 11th. Pictured here is the prize support. It's interesting because they've got a Pro Tour invite to second place this time in addition to just first place. And these battle hardened playmats have been confirmed to be for only 50. There are 50 printings of these battle hardened playmats, which makes it very interesting that the playmat might be worth more than the cash prize in the event. First and second both getting $500 is nice because that'll pay for your plane ticket out to the Pro Tour if you choose to redeem your PTI for that, or Nationals, maybe not Worlds, but we'll see where things are being hosted. And then a curated gold cold the first. So I wonder if that's not going to be a Arcanite Skullcap like before, or if Skullcap is maybe just in the rotation now, like you can pull one. This is a different structure for sure. Still keeping the 6 rounds of Swiss with a cut to the top 8. Not huge on that because you can lose 1 round and not make top 8, which kind of feels bad. But the increase to the payout on these is nice. I am definitely looking forward to the next competitive season for Flesh and Blood, and I think this is a great way to start. And that kicks off at SCGCon Philadelphia, which is coming up soon, next couple weeks. On similar news, Star City Games will also be the hosts of the first calling for the year. This is going to be the Calling Indianapolis. The prize support on this event is immensely increased. If you look at this graphic that we have here, there's a $20,000 cash prize pool now. Previously it was $10,000. First place still getting that gorgeous gold cold foil spring tunic. Very nice. But additional random gold cold legendaries to the rest of top 8, just as we expected before. Pro Tour invites all around, but the cash on this event is insane. Previously, first place was like $1,200. Now it's $7,000. That's insane. You get as much for third or fourth now as you previously did for like winning the event, which is, whew, this is going to be sweet. I'm definitely excited for these callings coming up. I think that's going to be fantastic. Now it's time to break into the archives. What happened this week in Flesh and Blood? What was it? Oh yeah, it was the farewell to Welcome to Rathe drafts. I personally got to participate in 3 of these events, and I had an overall record of 8-0-1. I went 3-0, 3-0, and 2-0-1. In the third draft, we went to time in the finals, which was kind of unfortunate. I think I probably could have gotten there. They had 2 drones in their deck, Drone of Brutality, but I think I still could have pushed through it because I also had a drone, and I was on the aggressive side. They were kind of just defending out because I was playing Dorinthia in that draft, and they were on Bravo. They had a lot of defense reactions to get through the early game, but once they ran out, they were probably dumping their hand on the table. Let's take a look at my first draft here. My first draft, I also drafted Dorinthia. This one was interesting. There was one other Dorinthia player in the pod, and they were very new to the game and to draft. They had never drafted Flesh and Blood before, so I got a lot of the important key pieces, like Driving Blade. I had 4 of. You can see a blue, a yellow, and 2 reds there. I had the only Warrior's Valor that I saw. They ended up taking a couple of those, so they cut me a little bit there. And then I had 6 Iron Song responses, so I had some defense, or I had some attack reactions. I also ended up picking up a Refraction Bolters, a slew of defense reactions you see at the top. And then in the top right corner, those top 4 cards were pretty much just blue pitch. Like you can see a Wounding Blow there. Obviously, I'm never playing Wounding Blow. It was just a blue pitch block 3 if I had to. So that's kind of my thought process there. And on this draft, I did 3-0, so I got to choose, and I took a Cold Foil Dorinthia. I kind of wanted to just take the gold or the cold foil for whatever hero I played, and I ended up being able to do that in all 3 drafts. So for this one, I took a Dorinthia. Draft 2 here, we have my Bravo list. This was interesting. This event only had 14 people, so it was a pot of 6 and a pot of 8. I was in the pot of 8, but I was the only person in the whole room that drafted Bravo. No one drafted it in the pot of 6, and I was the only person drafting it in the pot of 8. I still got cut quite a bit because the person 2 seats to my right, his name is Matt, he was taking blue Guardian cards if there was nothing else for him in the pack, which kind of cut me down a little bit. I didn't have as many blues as I would have liked in this list, so I had a lot of yellows, but that ended up helping because of the hammer. I was able to get a lot of swings for 6 without having to just dominate, so I could leave floating mana and attack for 6. The pummels in the top right were super important as well. When you have that floating mana, so the way you do it is you attack with hammer, and it costs 3. So you pitch a yellow, which pays for 2 of it, and then a blue, and that pays for 1 of it, leaving you 2 floating. So if you have another card in hand or arsenal, you can threaten this pummel, and then it causes them to play differently. Another thing you can do is just pitch the blue and attack with the hammer. And after they block, you can, in reactions, pitch a yellow or another blue and pummel. And that'll activate the Anothos to make it bigger on its own effect and the pummel. So if you come in with just like a hammer for 4 and then you pummel afterwards, your hammer turns to 6. And like if you use a red pummel, that's 10. So then you're like, okay, it was 4. You didn't block. Now it's 10. and that's better than a dominated attack in most instances. The only turns you really want to dominate are if you have a very relevant odd hit, like a disable to get a card out of their arsenal or whatever. The first turn, if you're going first, you can dominate and attack, and they don't get to full mulligan. And then the very last turn of the game, the turn you kill them. Other than that, you're pretty happy to just take cards out of their hand. As long as you have enough good attacks in your deck, you're pretty much fine with just taking 2 or 3 cards out of their hand and them coming back with like a weapon or an arsenal card. You can dedicate 1 and come back with a hammer. Infinite ways. The first draft was the Japanese printing of Welcome to Rathe, so we did not have Drone of Brutalities. This draft, you'll see, we did have Drone of Brutality because there's one picture there. I had a blue drone, which actually ended up mattering that I had something to recycle into my deck in one of my games. So another 3-0 here. I got myself a Cold Foil Bravo. Pretty cool. Those were the 2 heroes that I wanted, so I'm glad to have gotten both of them. And then on to the third draft, we have the other Dorinthia draft. I was the only Dorinthia in this 8 pod, and I don't know how I kept getting so lucky with being the only person drafting things. But as you can see, I have 4 Warrior's Valor, I have 6 Driving Blades, I have a blue drone. The thing that I was lacking in this draft was reactions. I was the only Dorinthia, but other people had started it and moved off of it. Or like gone into it late game and not ended up playing it. Late draft, like pack 2, pack 3. Someone had taken some stuff. There was a Singing Steelblade in the draft. I didn't get it. There was an Iron Song Determination in the draft. I didn't get that either. So other people were taking things, and I didn't quite get everything that I wanted, but this deck was still very good. This one, I ended up drawing the finals. I was playing against that Bravo that I was talking about, and they played it really smart, did a lot of good blocking. We went to time, and we ended up drawing, but we still got a pretty early pick choice for what cold foil hero I wanted. So I took another Dorinthia here. Don't really need 2 Dorinthias, but I don't really have an interest in a cold foil Katsu or a cold foil Rhinar. I just wanted another Dorinthia, so I just took another Dorinthia. And that was my Welcome to Rathe weekend. Let me know how yours went. How many did you play in? How did they go? What was your record? What hero did you get? Did you draft anything sweet? Every single draft that I played in, someone in my pod pulled a legendary. Not me. Never me. But yeah, did you get a sweet legendary? Did you get an Enlightened Strike? Anything cool? Let me know in the comments below. I don't want to keep you too long on today's pilot episode, so let's head to the counter, and I'll get you checked out on that book. Good choice. The return date is next Thursday. I'll see you there.